Alright, hello fellow sinners. I'm going to be going over Exodus 8 a little bit, but mostly 9. I'm just kind of recapping everything, and then I'm going to pass the video up to someone else. So, Exodus 8 starts with the plague of frogs. These frogs stink, they're gross, they're everywhere. It's not just the poor people who live in the brick huts, it's the rich people with the 3-4 story palaces. They're surrounded by gardens. These frogs are everywhere. They're disgusting. Ugh, we don't, no, not having that. And as you move on to like gnats and flies, after the gnats, the magicians couldn't recreate the gnats, right? And Pharaoh's magicians were like, "Oh, that's truly the finger of God." And when you say that, and then you're like, "Nah, it's fine. You're just an idiot." I'm sorry, they're idiots, because once again, they're shown this power of God, this power that even the magicians, using demonic powers, using whatever trickery they have, could not do. They couldn't compete with God, because none of us compete with God, and they still harden their hearts to that. So Pharaoh hardens his heart again, and I think this kind of shows us like looking for a sign, right? As Christians, we often look for a sign, and we're like, oh, I'll do this if God, has a butterfly come by my window tomorrow. No, that's not our place to say. Like, when we're called to do something like God, we should do it. We shouldn't wait for some sign. Take that from Pharaoh. I mean, he was waiting for all these signs, and they were coming, but he was ignoring them. So watch out for that as a Christian. And then Pharaoh kind of wanted to follow God's words partially, like he wasn't fully in on it. He wanted to compromise with the Israelites and say, "Oh, you can leave and do your sacrifices, but do them here," instead of letting them do God's will and actually go out in the world. So I think that's another important little fact, that we need to commit to God fully and not just partially. All right. Now moving on to 9. So it starts with the livestock. Only the livestock of the Egyptians is killed, which is really cool. I think that's really interesting, how none of the Israelites are harmed, and Pharaoh sees this, and his heart is still hardened, just like God said. And then so the boils come out, and he takes handfuls of soup from the furnace, tosses it in the air, whatever. Everyone gets these boils. Disgusting. And I really think it's interesting, because the magicians couldn't stand before him anymore. Couldn't stand before Moses and Aaron and with Pharaoh, because they were covered in boils, which is not fun. It's disgusting, but I think it's another really cool thing where, once again, the full power of God is shown, and these magicians, whatever powers they had or pretended to have, couldn't even stand near him. I mean, because they had boils all over him, because they stink, man. Next thing is the hailstorm. I'm just going to touch on this for a few seconds. I think the hailstorm is super duper cool, because I love storms, but if you imagine the biggest hailstorm in Israelites' history of all time, since the founding of the nation, giant chunks killing livestock, killing slaves. I think here it's interesting because it talked about some people listened and some people did not. And so those who actually saw God's full power and strength, and there was some, it looks like, were like, all right, this is stupid. They got their slaves inside and saved them or whatever, and they protected themselves. When some people who were foolish and still didn't heed God's warning and hardened their hearts, they died, because once again, they turned their back on God. That's kind of an analogy to heaven and hell. If you turn your back on God and you don't look at the warnings, you don't look at the signs, you don't look at all the evidence of the Bible, the hail's going to hit you right into hell, and that's not fun. That's not good. I shouldn't have said that. That was stupid, but whatever. I'm sticking with it now. And then I think after the hailstorm, he told him to leave, get out of there. He got it to stop, and then Pharaoh's like, nope, whatever, you're not allowed to leave again. Once again, Pharaoh's heart is hardened. And then to end it all off, I did like verse 30. And verse 30 says, "But I know that you and your officials still do not fear the Lord." And I think that must have been in my mind, a really powerful statement. Because he's like, all these things are happening, and people are afraid. I'm sure there's people terrified in the streets, because they're like, look at this has to be a God. I'm sure there's people. But all the officials are like, no. It's like, whatever, we're fine. And I just think that statement's really cool. But I know union officials are still not have the fear of the Lord of God. And I think that's really just scary to hear. Like, I don't know, I feel like thunder would have clapped after he said that. But that's just me. I don't know. I just kind of rambled there. But there's one we'll take 8 and 9. I just try to make it quick, just kind of breezing over the points. I'm going to have April Larson go for tomorrow. Thank you.